feel fine. Oh, 6 o'clock TV hour, looking at foreign tower, session Marie, turn, listen to yourself, journal like a mini uniform, my book is burning brighter than every motive escalating, not a moment, incinerate, light a motive, light a candle, step down, what you feel, crush, up, all this means no fear, cavalier, renegade, steer clear, turn them in, applies, new operating solutions and offer me alternatives, and I decline. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. I feel fine. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. I feel fine. The other night I took the fine, Connor Nano took the fine, Mount Saying, Analyze Leonard, Bernstein, Leonard, President, Lenny, Lisa, Mr. Becky, birthday party, cheesecake, a jelly bean, boom. Patriotic, slam, put next, set right. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. I feel fine. Oh, it's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. I feel fine.
Yes, it's the end of the world as we know it, Doomers, and it is music for the end of the world here on 93.7 Edge FM. I'm Chris, and I'm joined once again by lovely Cass.
Good evening, everyone.
Evening, Cass. And a special guest, Bella.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Bella. All right. Tonight I'm going to be, well, we're all going to be talking about war and how energy intensive it is. And the interesting thing about more people dying from heat related
Yeah, I've heard a lot about that
than
in the news.
from war, which is pretty amazing. So we're just going to be talking a little bit about that. And also about aerosol masking. Have either of you heard about aerosol masking before?
I have heard of aerosol masking.
Okay.
I'm not quite sure if I have the correct definition, but I have heard of it.
Okay. One of the great secrets of climate change, really, aerosol masking. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight, Doomers. Well, mostly. I mean, I've got a lot of things to talk about with the state of the world and what's been happening with Orange Man. And it's what amazes me is that billionaires, the richest people, can get the poorest people to support them. That's what amazes me. I was just reading a quote from Bernie Sanders, who was saying that this is what America, the media, looks like today. Because people say, you know, America's teetering towards a dictatorship, you know, with... And it is true that it's becoming quite fascist, but dictators don't need... Traditionally, dictators have used, what do you call it, strength and violence against its people. But to be a dictator nowadays, you just need to control the message. And Bernie Sanders saying, this is what American media looks like today. The wealthiest person in the planet, Elon Musk, owns X. The second wealthiest person on the planet, Larry Ellison, another Trump backer, owns Paramount and CBS, and is probably going to be taking over the American TikTok and CNN. Jeff Bezos, he owns the Washington Post and Twitch. And Mark Zuckerberg owns Facebook and Instagram. So the top 5 richest men in the world are all media owners.
Interesting, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. So when we talk about oligarchy in America, Bernie says, it's not only income and wealth inequality, it's control over the media and what the American people are able to see, hear and read. And that is how you get to take over a country without
Well, it's true. That's right. Without even using violence in that way. Absolutely.
That's right. That's right.
It's incredibly, particularly in this current day and age. I think media before has always played a role, but if you look at how important our social media is now, then that's how you spread the message.
Absolutely.
And you can have everyone believing whatever message you're putting out.
Just like one of our favourite listeners, Steve, has texted us saying to just keep the masses stupid. Well, that's right, Steve. Keep them stupid, man. Because people have been brainwashed into worshipping the grind. Whole generations of people marinated in propaganda for decades brag about overworking themselves, destroying their health, their families, their sanity, and they call it a virtue. They wear their chains as badges of honour. And for what? A paycheck that barely covers survival. A couple of weeks off a year, if you're lucky, and a little plot of land to collapse in when you're not eating or cleaning or shitting or sleeping, before dragging yourself back to the same old cycle until you die. And people defend this as normal, healthy, noble. I think maybe it's just serfdom with better branding, really. And we've literally built machines, AI, that could actually end this nightmare. Humanity finally created tools that could free us from this endless slog. Machines that could take over all the menial crap so we could live fuller lives, spend more time with family, travel, create, and actually enjoy existing. But instead of demanding that this technology benefits everyone, people are terrified of it. They don't fear the machines and AI. They fear losing their right to keep slaving away at their jobs. They beg for their exploitation like dogs fighting for scraps. Haven't you heard that? People go, AI is going to take my job. Yeah. I have to go and do my job.
But the reason that people are worried about that is not because they're saying, I'm going to lose my drudgery and hard work. They're saying, I'm not going to have money to be able to...
Because capitalism, Cass, exactly, has perfected the greatest con in history, which is rewiring our human psychology to equate self-worth with productivity. If you're not grinding for someone else's profit, you're worthless, and you deserve to suffer for it. Look how they treat the unemployed. And when AI shows up, people don't say, holy shit, maybe now we can work less and live more. They say, no, don't take our jobs. They don't demand universal benefits, wealth redistribution or restructuring of society around this breakthrough. No, they defend the grind. They've been mentally broken into Stockholm syndrome for capitalism.
Well, I agree with what you're saying there, but the bottom line is still, if people don't have jobs, they don't have money, they can't buy food, they can't pay for accommodation. So the reason that people are worried about AI taking over their jobs... Yeah,
because capitalism says to get money, you have to go out and do the grind.
Well, that's right.
So they see freedom from labour as a threat, like you say. While the real threat, the billionaires and the corporations, they hoard just about everything. And they're killing our planet. And they go by completely unchallenged. So here we are, clinging to the whip. People beg for overtime, they fear liberation, sneer at anyone who questions the system. That's nothing more or less than mass delusion. Humanity built machines to free itself and instead decided it was easier to sleepwalk into a new gilded cage because we're too scared to imagine life without someone else holding our self-worth hostage. And this writer says, it isn't grit or American values, it's just proof that we've forgotten what the point of living even is. Unless people wake up and demand this technology be used for the benefit of everyone, not just a handful of selfish, greedy tech bros, we'll keep calling our economic slavery freedom, while the billionaires laugh and build their gilded towers on our broken backs. That is my rant this week, Cass. Once again, it's against those damn super rich billionaires. And Steve, you're right, keep the masses stupid. Now, back to our special guest, Bella, who is from the younger generation. It's fair to say, Bella?
Yep.
Yeah. Under 30?
Yes.
Yes, make sure you speak, that's right, near the microphone. And you've brought some music in as well.
Yeah, a few songs.
Okay. What songs have you brought in? You brought in Jack Carty.
Mm-hmm.
Where's he from?
Originally, I think he's from the small town of Bellingen in New South Wales.
Oh.
But is currently in Brisbane, I think, is where he plays a lot of his music.
From Bellingen, nice. And apparently the Hilltop Hoods have got a new album out. So you got a song from them. What else have we got? Oh, The Big Push. Who are they?
Ren sings with them, and Ren is an artist, a Welsh artist.
A Welsh artist.
Yeah, singer-songwriter.
Well, our Welsh listeners will be very happy about that. Excellent. All right, well, before we get into the whole deaths from warfare and heating, we will play a song. And which one shall we do? How about we do a Jack Carty song, Bella?
Yeah,
Honey, Do You Know the Way Back Home? Is that what it's called?
that's what it's called.
All right. So here we go, peeps. Jack Carty with Honey, Do You Know the Way Back Home?
Tell me the way back home, dear. I've had enough. A Sisyphus with reverse, Midas touch. Come and see the noble struggle on. Honey, do you know the way back home? Whatever works is not like you owe me. But I thought you were really smart and pretty. Whatever works. You can wear your best dress every night and do your makeup in the rear view as we drive. Keep your watch set on the time, you know. Honey, do you know the way back home? Whatever works is not like you owe me. But I thought you were really smart and pretty. Whatever works. I could be a stable home-based boy, make meals and excuses for you to enjoy. Never hunt another pot of gold. Honey, do you know the way back home? Honey, do you know the way back home? Honey, do you know the way back home?
Oh, nice. Jack Carty.
Very nice, great voice.
From Belgium.
Yeah.
Homegrown. Ah, lovely song. Thanks, Bella, for bringing that one in. Now, before we get into talk about what we're going to talk about tonight, I just wanted to do this quote from Brian Allen. It says, "When the American empire finally collapses, historians won't be stunned by the greed of the elite. They'll be stunned by the loyalty of the poor. The working class didn't just vote against their own interests, they worshipped the billionaires robbing them. They slashed their own benefits, gutted their own healthcare, and cheered while the rich wrote off private jets as tax deductions. not because it helped them, but because they were told it would hurt someone else. And that right there is how you rig a democracy without even breaking a single law, Cass. That's how you have to do it. That's exactly what is happening. So obvious if you have a little think about it. But as Steve said, most people are pretty stupid when they don't think about it. All right, back to war. Now, considering how many wars there are going on, there's quite a few going on at the moment on the planet, it seems incongruous that simple heat could be killing more people than
I know. I must say
bullets,
that does sound when
bombs,
you think of
tanks, and everything else.
yeah. I think it's an interesting figure you're quoting.
And let's not forget that a lot of this heat is a result of military emissions as well. We've gone into how much energy the US Defence Forces use. I mean, it's bigger than most countries. And there's a new film out, Doomsters, if you're interested, by Abby Martin. She's got a new feature film called Earth's Greatest Enemy. And she has her sights set on the imperialist US military machine. So that's coming out. I'm not sure where it's going to be, if it's coming out streaming or on YouTube, but keep an eye out for it. The Earth's Greatest Enemy. And of course, a sector that's been hard hit due to workers exceeding their wet bulb limits, and we've spoken about wet bulb limits before. The wet bulb limit, Cass, is, I'm giving you a little quick pop quiz here.
Well,
What's a wet bulb temperature?
Well, I'm presuming it's at a point that you can't cool down from.
Exactly. It's where the humidity and the heat doesn't have to be super hot. I mean, you can just 32, 33, but if the humidity is so bad, you sweat and you don't actually cool yourself. That's a wet bulb temperature. And people working outside, you know, weeding, harvesting crops, all that sort of stuff, it can be lethal.
Well, let alone, what about the construction, the whole construction industry?
Construction
and
industry.
People out labouring and
Yep.
doing like really hard labour in
That's
the
right.
heat.
And of course, we always can't forget that, wild animals haven't got any aircon to use to hide from extreme heat. So, there's, the bird. I remember a couple of years ago there were birds falling out of the sky in India, and somewhere in Australia there were some bats falling out of trees from heat stress, and it's so looking at the war. Now, this is from Kevin Hester. He was talking about the war, saying that in 2017 the US military bought about 270,000 barrels of oil a day, and they emitted more than 25,000 kilotons of carbon dioxide by burning that oil. US Air Force got 4.9 billion worth of fuel. The Navy got 2.8 billion. So the US military, with 800 offshore military bases, is pretty big and uses a lot of energy. If the US were a country, its fuel usage alone would make it the 47th largest emitter of greenhouse gases in the world, sitting between Peru and Portugal. That's just the US military.
That's a lot.
Yeah. That's right. So that would be a good movie to see if you can see it.
What is that movie you were talking about? Is that what the basis of it is?
Yeah.
Talking about
the US
energy
military.
consumption
Exactly.
from military.
That's right. Yeah. But what I wanted to talk about was this new report that's come out. The Presenza, the International Press Agency, have got this story which came out on the 25th of June this year. It's about Swiss Re, which is one of the world's largest reinsurers. So without Swiss Re, very few insurance companies exist because they insure with Swiss Re. So we probably wouldn't have the ability to insure our homes or cars or anything without reinsurers like Swiss Re. They're one of the world's largest ones. And the lead sentence from this report says, extreme heat is one of the world's leading killers, outdistancing worldwide conflicts of 233,000 deaths in 2024 by more than double that to about 480,000 people dead last year from extreme heat.
Wow. That's
This is a reinsurance agency commissioning this report.
Yep.
So they're not known to be leftist hotbeds of lefty thinking. Human actions have collectively caused more deaths from an overheated planet than from military actions. And it's not even close. When it comes to death, extreme heat is more than twice as effective as military action. And this Presenza report continues going on to say that all indications suggest that the death count via extreme heat is headed much higher because global warming is not slowing down as global CO2 emissions in the atmosphere increase every year, as they have, like clockwork, setting new record levels every year, blanketing and retaining more heat every year. As we know, for the last 200 years, CO2 emissions have been going up every year, even with all the green energy.
Does it talk about the geographic regions where the sort of there's higher percentages?
Yes, it does in the report. It goes on to say, this report, goes on about the CO2 emissions. There's more than 430 parts per million now of CO2 in the atmosphere. And these high levels have only occurred millions and millions of years ago. And according to the Presenza report, the Design to Fail Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, the IPCC, indicated that CO2 at 430 parts per million will push the world beyond its target for avoiding dangerous climate change. Duh. We've now passed this point. So they published it on the 12th of June this year, and the press release is titled "Extreme Heat More Deadly Than Floods, Earthquakes and Hurricanes Combined." And the press release begins with 3 bullet points. 1, human lives lost to extreme heat exceed the total toll from earthquakes, floods and hurricanes. 2, heat-related risks extend to wildfires, healthcare systems, infrastructure and agriculture. And 3, Swiss Re's latest report examines emerging structural risks, among them a rising number of artificial intelligence, AI incidents, and decreasing trust in institutions, which is happening all around the world that we can see. Up to 500,000 people, they say, globally succumb to the effects of extreme heat each year, according to recent scientific research, exceeding all those things about floods and earthquakes and hurricanes, etc., etc., etc. So it is among the most important emerging risks, according to the Swiss Re's report. And the study highlights how this peril reaches beyond the human toll, mapping its effects across industries such as energy and telecommunication sectors. There is clear evidence, they say, that extreme heat events are happening with greater severity, frequency and duration. And just July this year, last year, saw the hottest 3 days ever recorded on Earth. And data is also emerging now to show that since the 1960s, heat waves in the US are now 3 times more prevalent and almost a full degree hotter, and last a full day longer than they used to. So this report is pretty interesting reading. Heat waves coinciding with strong winds can also increase the likelihood of wildfires, according to this report from Swiss Re. Global insured losses due to wildfires reached $78.5 billion in the last 10 years, 9 years.
Yep.
And it's only going to get more and more.
And then you throw water shortages, and I was reading something in an article this week which was talking, it was about an American dam water supply area that's dropped to 33% of its capacity and has serious implications for then moving any of that water moving from that region, flowing down to other countries. So you start looking at, water shortages, heat, and obviously you always equate needing water with high temperatures. So, yeah, it's worrying.
We're lucky here in the Bega Valley at the moment, seeing we have this big aquifer underneath us, and our ground is pretty green and not too dry at the moment. Dams are overfull. So Bella, being from a young generation, do you talk much about your cohort of friends about these things, collapse, and generally the end of the world, and heat, and all that sort of stuff? Is that a topic that comes up when you're talking to your young people?
It does through what we see in the media, but we don't go out of our way to I guess, watch everything that's maybe happening on the news and things like that. And it's also quite easy to become only worried about things that affect you in your small kind of world or community. So there definitely could be more of it, but we do a little bit.
Because, I mean, the young people got more to lose than myself, who's almost 60. You know, I've had a pretty good life. But young people, they've still got their lives in front of them, and it's not looking good. All right. Before we go on, I think we might have one more song. Which one shall we play? What song do you like to play, Belly?
Maybe the Hilltop Hoods song.
Hilltop Hoods this year. And I believe it's a shout-out to someone, this Hilltop Hoods song.
Yeah, I'll shout it out to my partner, Jaden, back home in the sunny coast.
Oh, up in the sunny coast. And has it been, would you say, unnervably warmer up on the sunny coast this year, this summer?
Yeah, I'd say our winter was quite mild. So I'd definitely say, and yeah, I think we're in for a hot summer, definitely.
All right, so here you go for Mr. Jaden up there on the sunny coast. This Year is the title of a song by Hilltop Hoods. Hilltop Hoods, love it, Bella. That's the new one, This Year. I have to listen to that album, haven't listened to it yet. Hope Jaden enjoyed it. Okay, you're listening to 93.7 Edge FM here in the lovely Bega Valley, and it is time now for some messages from our lovely sponsors.
Better Home Living Bega is the only place to shop for all your electrical appliances. With a huge showroom boasting a great range of white goods, televisions, small appliances, and a fantastic cooking showroom with all the big brands. Plus, they're also an Apple reseller and Weber barbecue specialist and a Jcar stockist. Call in and see the experienced staff or shop online at better.com.au. Better Home Living Bega, 95 Auckland Street, Bega. Proud sponsors of Edge FM.
Bega Independent Batteries are a proudly Australian company and not only supply all types of batteries, but quality off-grid kits, solar pumps and more to the southeast coast of New South Wales and northern Victoria. They supply all types of batteries and associated products, everything from marine, aeroplane and automobile through to trucks, RVs, caravans, golf carts and smaller consumable batteries. Their aim is to provide quality products at the best possible prices. Give them a ring on 0436 460 460 or check out the website at www.ibsbega.com.au. Bega Independent Batteries sponsor 93.7 Edge FM.
Thank you, dear sponsors, without whom we would not be able to function. Okay, getting back to this report, the Sonar report. It reveals that a range of industries are also vulnerable to extreme heat events. For example, the telecommunications industry faces significant risks from their failing cooling systems in data centres. And we've already spoken before on the show about how much energy the data centres, particularly in relation to AI, are using, including Bill Gates commissioning a nuclear reactor for
their power.
for energy for his data centers. Yeah, it's crazy. And of course, the important thing about this report, Cass, is that it is from a insurance company or a reinsurance company, and we know how conservative insurance companies are, and they are the true capitalist companies. You know, they're out for the profit. And so the liability risks have already started to emerge, this report says, with corporates and institutions facing legal action for failing to mitigate heat-related harms. I briefly remember something, a 2021 lawsuit which saw someone in the US seeking $52 billion from fossil fuel companies for losses caused by climate change-induced extreme weather events.
I don't think they won, though.
I don't think they did, no. But it shows you the direction that we're headed. And so extreme heat is therefore set to intensify litigation, which in turn drives up liability claims for insurers. But also, the extreme heat events can also exacerbate other emerging risks, such as toxic fungi, which thrives in warmer temperatures and can invade the human body, as well as more well-known risks, including crop failures, of course, we've seen, workers' compensation claims from employees exposed to extreme heat conditions. And the press release continues with a section entitled Emerging Structural Risks, Declining Trust and Increasing AI Incidents. So alongside this dive into extreme heat, this 2025 report delves into a range of structural risks, such as the growing distrust in institutions, mortality trends, and increasing litigation costs. I wonder if they go into, I haven't read the whole report yet, if they go into Spermageddon, into the decreasing global fertility problem. Now, the Swiss Re's Group Chief Risk Officer, I suppose he's like a bit like the CEO, is quoted in this section saying, amid an increasingly interconnected risk environment, insurers are having to continuously adjust the scope of their risk horizon between the growing risk of extreme heat events, emerging liability risks, or the changing scope of AI-related risks. And we've seen that where people now, I know in Australia, and I'm pretty sure it's other places, they can't get insurance.
Yeah, that's right.
For their houses.
And it's beyond people's house insurance. It's the thing of businesses. And when you're talking, as I said, you sort of, things are on your radar and then they go off your radar. And remember, there was all of that press about the algae blooms in South Australia and the impact that that's having, killing all the marine life. But it's also, that then affects
Yes,
people's businesses. So
that's
it's not
right.
just their ability to insure your house. It's the fact that businesses who quite often have to have, and we're compelled to have insurance. You can't operate. You can't go to a market.
No.
You can't have a market store unless you've got insurance.
But it's interesting how, getting back to that algal bloom in South Australia, it never really made a lot of traction in the press, I thought, until people were starting coming out saying, my livelihood's gone.
I came out much more on a livelihood than
I've
the
got to sell
animals
everything.
dying.
We're going to end up homeless.
Yep.
Nothing about the tens of hundreds of thousands of sea creatures, everything wiped out. Nothing about that. But as soon as it becomes economically affecting, then bang, then the press is on it. And that's this is what this report's about, really. This is how we, that's the tragedy of the human psychology, our capitalist system. Nothing gets traction until it's got some
In
economic
money terms.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. But back to this report, we learned that Swiss Re, the reinsurance company, suggests 6 strategies for addressing climate change. And not surprisingly, we also learned that the Trump administration is not interested in any of them. In fact...
Well, if you listen to Donald Trump's latest
at his rant at the
little
UN
spiel
God
about
help
there
us.
is no climate change.
There is no climate change, no. And the escalator stopping was a conspiracy designed to inhibit him and his wife, apparently, or some crap like that, yeah. The bottom line from this report is the same one that we have heard many, many times and read many times, Cass. The solution? Stop burning fossil fuels. But, and you might think, yes, why don't we just do that? But unfortunately, this is the fastest path to the extinction of all life on Earth because it causes the loss of aerosol masking, which heats the planet way quicker than CO2. Not surprisingly, the aerosol masking effect remains this best-kept secret in climate science. And that's what we're going to be talking about in the second half of the show tonight, is aerosol masking. Because burning fossil fuels creates aerosols, which go into the atmosphere and reflect all that radiating heat from the sun back. And if the aerosols are gone, then there's more heat coming in. So we're going to be talking a little bit about that second half. Sort of a catch-22, really.
It is a catch-22 because it's almost the solution is to just continue doing what you're doing.
Well, as we know, there is no solution. But we can try and mitigate the fall down the cliff for as long and painless as possible, I suppose. You're listening to 93.7 Edge FM here on Music for the End of the World, and I've got two guests in. Well, Cass is usually here. Got a special guest, Bella, from the Sunshine Coast, and she's brought in some excellent music. And I think I might play Bella the Big Push, called It's All Right.
Yep.
And you were saying Ren is a Welsh singer? Is that what you were saying?
Yes, singer-songwriter.
Right. This goes out to all our Welsh listeners then. You know who I'm talking to, Steve. Here's the Big Push with Ren.
He was trying to get a product. So he always said everybody has value, but you need a service or a product. So that CD, when he said Bag It Man at the end of that song, he was talking about those songs, put them on a record, bag it, and let's take it to the world. And trying to do it, to be a musician, to be the real deal, to not only call himself a musician, but to do what musicians do.
But thanks for your time. Then you can thank me for mine. And down till that's said, forget it. Don't be a name, there's no one to blame, no reason why you should stay here and lie to me. Don't say anymore, just walk out the door, I'll get along.
Well, something doesn't seem to be working here. I don't know. I'll have to check that
Well,
out.
I think that's right. Might be a technical error. Might have to put on a new song.
Yes, all right. I'll try a new song. In the meantime, I suppose. Yeah. All right. Let's try a new one then. Is this going to work? I hope so.
Most definitely, and it was his image, and he has that image since the beginning. I know his glasses, I have his hats, I have his glasses, his guitar, his boots, his magic coat. He wore it, cover Rolling Stone, everything. But he wasn't a materialistic person. He used his stuff, really used it.
What was magic about his coat?
Well, he called it the magic coat. This one was, and after he got the coat, he toured. And
Well, we've got some technical issues here in the studio. So we'll have to go to some more different types of music playing.
Alternate music.
Alternate, yeah. All right. Here we go then. Let's have some Van Morrison while we try and see.
Address the technical
Yes.
difficulties.
Dweller on the threshold, and I'm waiting at the door, and I'm standing in the darkness. I don't want to wait no more. I don't see without perceiving. I have been another man. Let me pierce the realm of lambert, so I know it's just a climb. I'm a dweller on the threshold, and I'm waiting at the door, and I'm standing in the darkness. I don't want to wait no more. Feel the angel of the present, in the mighty crystal fire. threshold. Someday I'll cross the burning ground. Let me go down to the water. What's the great loser found? A dweller on the threshold, and I'm waiting at the door, and I'm standing in the darkness. I don't want to wait no more. Lift me up to soothe my darkness when the midnight disappears. I will walk out of the darkness, and I walk into the light, and I sing the song of ages, and the dawn will end the night. I'm a dweller on the threshold, at the door, and I'm standing in the darkness. I don't want to wait no more. I'm a brother on the threshold. Someday I'll cross the burning ground. Let me go down to the water. What's the great loser found? I'm a dweller on the threshold.
Van Morrison, Dweller on the Threshold. I'm on the threshold here, but I think we've sorted it out now, Doomsters.
Thank goodness for CDs.
There you go. We were just talking about Swiss Re, we're talking about technology and how it's failing us, and it's just done it then. But we're back on track, I think. And I think we'll quickly have one last message from our lovely sponsors.
If you want the SP on spare parts, see the experienced team at Parts 4 Bega. It's the place to lob if you've lost a nut or a knob, or call 64925212. Your Parts 4 store is a candy shop and more for the motoring enthusiast. There's parts galore at your local Parts 4 store. Parts 4 Bega is a proud sponsor of 93.7 Edge FM.
Thank you, Parts for Bega. All right, back to Music for the End of the World, and I did say we were going to play that song by the Big Push, Bella.
With Ren, yep.
With Ren, It's All Right, and fingers crossed, Doosters. Let's hope that we got it this time.
I've been living in the dark since I fell out of the womb. It's alright, constantly coughing on my way to the tomb. It's alright, don't interrupt me if I'm talking too soon. It's alright. I seek repentance cause I sin and I sin. It's alright, I trimmed the fat but now my body's too thin. It's alright, my train of thought runs off the tracks when I sing. It's alright. Sometimes I've tried too hard and I don't succeed, but I've got this far and I'm moving at my natural pace. And if it doesn't work out today, it's alright. It's alright. It's alright. It's alright. I got confused explaining science to God. It's alright, an oxymoron, I'm a criminal cop. It's alright, my lights are green but when they're red I can't stop. It's alright. lovers, they leave me, and I'm left out like trash. It's alright, nothing comes easy, and it's gone in a flash. It's alright, take a wrong turn and you'll be out on your ass. It's alright. Sometimes I try too hard and I don't succeed, but I've got this far and I'm moving at my natural pace. And if it doesn't work out today, it's alright. It's alright. It's alright. It's alright. I can't keep up the pace when I run the human race. When I open up my mind, I can't but help to close my eyes. I found some breathing space inside the corners of my face. When life is rubbish, there's time to waste. It's alright. It's alright. It's alright. It's alright. It's alright.
It's all right. Yes, it's the end of the world as we know it. And it's all right, Doomsters. That was the big push with Ren. Very nice. Another good choice, Bella. Lovely song. All right, back to aerosols. Now, as this report was saying, that stopping fossil fuel burning is the solution to the getting rid of CO2, but then you stop the aerosol masking. Now, aerosol emissions, you might be a bit confused. Usually you think of spray cans, remember?
Yeah, that's my
back in the
first
80s and concerns over depletion of the ozone layer, remember that?
Yep, everyone stopped
And we
refilling
all
your
stopped
fridges.
it. Yeah,
and-
fridges all got redesigned, and we stopped that big hole in the ozone layer. But however, aerosols are a broad category that refer to solid or liquid particles that are fine enough to remain suspended in the atmosphere for extended periods of time. And the major climate relevant ones that I'm going to be talking about is SO2, sulfates, nitrates, NO3, ammonia, NH4, mineral dust, sea spray, and carbonaceous aerosols such as black carbon and organic carbon. So these tiny light scattering particles are produced mainly by burning fossil fuels. That's where most of them come from. And they've long acted as an invisible brake on global warming. And this is a report done by the Carbon Brief, which is a online site. And that's because they absorb or reflect incoming sunlight and influence the formation and brightness of clouds. That's what aerosols do. So these two effects act to lower regional and global temperatures. But, as we know, aerosols also have a substantial impact on human health, if you remember, Cass. That's why we're getting rid of them. With poor outdoor air quality from particulate matter contributing to millions of premature deaths per year. And efforts to improve air quality around the world, air pollution, in recent decades have reduced aerosol emissions, as we were saying, which is good for our health in terms of less air pollution. But while cutting aerosol clears the air, it also unmasks the warming caused by CO2 and other greenhouse gases. And this explanation report by Carbon Brief have a couple of key points, which I like to say. One, clean air rules are driving a rapid decline in sulphur emissions around the world, particularly in shipping fuels. So shipping fuels now are much cleaner than they used to be. So global sulphur dioxide emissions have fallen by around 40% since the mid-2000s. That's mainly due to changing shipping fuels. So that's one area where aerosols are being reduced. Also, there's around about a half to a full degree of warming today that is hidden by aerosols. Or so when they say, the planet is 1.65 degrees hotter than pre-industrial levels, without the aerosol masking, it would be at least another half degree, like over 2 degrees. So without the cooling from sulfates and other aerosols, today's global temperature would already be close to 2 degrees above pre-industrial levels, rather than about 1.5 as it is now. Chinese sulfate emissions have fallen by more than 70% between 2006 and 2017, as their government has brought in a series of air pollution measures, because we know how bad air pollution is in some of those big cities in China, Cass. You've been there and experienced it yourself. These declines, they estimate, have added around 0.06 degrees Celsius to global warming since the 2000s. The shipping's low sulphur fuels, as I said before, have added to recent warming. They reckon it's estimated about 0.04 degrees. And then roughly 1/4 of the increase in global temperature over the past 2 decades stems from this unmasking of human-caused heat. So altogether, recent aerosol cuts may have contributed to at least, taking back the temperature by between 0.1 and 0.5 degrees of warming that we've experienced since 2007. So that's how much hotter it would be without that aerosol masking effect. By unmasking warming from CO2 and other greenhouse gases, aerosols are flipped from reducing the rate of warming to increasing the rate of warming, because we're getting rid of them since about 2005. Sulfates and other aerosols are a major component of air pollution, which has been linked to millions of deaths. So good and bad, I suppose. And the last note they do is most future emission pathways project continued aerosol declines. So unless methane and other short-lived greenhouse gases fall at the same time as aerosols, the rate of warming could accelerate quite dramatically in the coming years, even if the CO2 stayed the same.
Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah, that's right. Because everything's connected, as we say on this show, Cass. Everything is connected. And that's why just looking at one problem, e.g. global warming, climate change, and not seeing the whole
effect.
Ecological overshoot, and that is just one symptom of, my beef is biodiversity loss. That's a big one for me. But when you look at one thing and you just target one problem, e.g. CO2 emissions,
you just create more problems.
you make more problems. That's right. Because everything's connected. It's such a huge... the world is, our spaceship, our planet spaceship hurtling through space here that supports all life is a hugely complicated, interconnected thing. Wouldn't you say, Cass?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The other thing about aerosols too is they don't stay in the atmosphere for long. So unlike long-term gases like CO2 or nitrous oxide, aerosols only continue to impact the climate while they are being released. So if you stop releasing them, they disappear pretty quick. And so their masking of the heat will disappear pretty quick. So it will get hotter quicker. I didn't know that they influence the formation and brightness of clouds, but apparently they do that as well. Yeah. And of course...
Well, again, connected. That's the connectedness, isn't it?
That's right. That's right. Because they're sort of a bit like a shield, really, I suppose, around the atmosphere, pushing back all that sun energy coming down. Yeah. Damned if we do, damned if we don't, like you said, Cass. Well, Doomsters, I don't have that much more time to be talking about aerosol masking. I'd like to, because there are some excellent models that they have done, different aerosols and their climatic effects. But we may continue that next week, I think, because it's coming up to the hour. Time goes quick when you're having fun, Cass.
It sure does.
Yes. So we'll be back next week, Doomsters, here on 93.7 Edge FM. And I try and put each show's episode up on the YouTube channel within a few days. And if you're in the Bega Valley and you would like to come in and have a chat about collapse, the end of the world as we know it, just email the radio station, go to their website, and CC me. Oh, no, not CC. What is it called, Cass, when you notice? What's that word? Well, anyway, just put it as for me. Music for the End of the World. I forget the name.
Attention, you could say.
Attention, thank you,
Attention,
Cass.
Chris.
That's right. Yeah, if you'd like to come in and have a chat. Always like to have guests on to see what their views are about collapse. And I was interested to hear, Belly, that you don't talk much about it with your friends that much.
No, not as much. Yeah, not as much as we probably should.
Well, I suppose just coming to grips with it is a hard thing. And I always find talking about it makes it a little bit easier. What about you, Cass?
I agree. I think talking about it, getting more truth, having more information and people making their decisions is an important part of it.
Yeah. So, Doomsters, I always like to say, as my friends down in Just Collapse do in Tasmania, collapse is inevitable, but justice is not. There's still the choice to live a good life, do the right thing, try and get some justice, particularly for the poorer people. That's why I'm always banging on about the super rich. At least at the end of the world, surely we can get a little bit of justice for all the marginalised people. Because if not now, then when? But I can't believe it. We haven't played our song, Cass, yet. Who would that be by?
I wonder who. Would it be Me First and
the Gimme
Gimmies?
Gimmies? Yes, so we're going to finish off with Me First, the Gimme Gimmies, Doomsters, and we'll see you all next week. It's good night from me.
It's good night from me.
And good night from me.
Good night, Bella. Good night, Cass. And here are the Gimmies. And I haven't played this one before, and they did play it at their show. And there was a lovely story about the song. Me First and the Gimme Gimmies with me and Julio down by the schoolyard.
Mama Pajama rolled out of bed and she went to the police station. When her papa found out, he began to shout and started the investigation. It's against the law. It was against the law. What the mama saw, it was against the law. Mama looked down and spit on the ground every time the name gets mentioned. Papa said, oh, if I get that far, I'm gonna stick him in the half detention. Well, I'm on my way. I don't know where I'm going. I'm on my way. I'm taking my time, but I don't know where. You better lose it. We the corona. See me and Julio down by the schoolyard. See me and Julio down by the schoolyard. Every couple of days they come and take me away, but the rest of the story's leak. Now when the radical preach come to get me released, it's all on the cover of Newsweek. Well, I'm on my way.